you doing?
Texting my mama.
Why?
Because she's asking about sweet baby girl.
Oh, yeah, she's doing better. So, I had in my head a plan.
Let's go. Let's do your plan. Hi, welcome.
Yes. No, I was going to actually, because Aztec Chevrolet is on my mind. Yes. I was going to actually give Aztec Chevrolet some love right off the top.
There we go. Let's do that.
So, I had a crazy weekend.
Yeah.
Crazy weekend. And I want to thank Aztec Chevrolet first and foremost, but then we'll talk about them a little later.
Okay.
Because they kind of saved my ass. All right.
Did they?
They did. They kind of saved my ass. And then also, I want to let everybody know that if you hear a little giggle in the background, I have my cousins here.
A giggle? They don't. Yeah. If you saw what they look like, they don't look like the kind of men who giggle.
No, I just. I don't want them to slip a laugh or something, and then
you didn't.
And then people go, "Well, what the hell's going on?"
Guys, since they're there, let's introduce them. Have them come on.
Yeah. So they are brothers, and I was.
Come around this way. Yeah. Come around this way.
Here is the crazy thing: this is JD. He's been JD to me. He's been Danny to me. He's Joaquin. And then that's cousin Josh. They are brothers, and coincidentally, we are very close in age. However, their dad is my first cousin.
Because your mama has, you have to explain, because your mama has so many siblings, there's like a huge age gap.
Yes, there's. Yeah. So just to put things in a perspective, their grandfather, who was my first uncle, was the same age as my dad's mom.
Yeah.
So that kind of puts it into perspective, because my mom had 9 brothers and sisters.
Your mama is on the baby end of the family.
Yeah, mom's on the baby end of the 9, and their grandpa was the first of the 9.
Yes.
So if that puts things into perspective, but so these guys are going to be hanging out. So if you hear them laugh or giggle or I ask them a question,
it's okay to heckle Steve. It's all right if you want to take my side.
But so these guys are going to be hiding. Yeah, you guys can go back to sitting down in your corners. But I just wanted to introduce them because.
Sitting in your corners.
Yeah, well, we literally have them in a corner. But we wanted to do our podcast like normal, and then I will talk about the exciting stuff that those guys are doing. But
like normal. What is normal?
Yeah, well, we had a great laugh this morning. But let's go back. Let's go back to the weekend that we had, and I mean, I was literally running all over the state of Texas. I unfortunately had to miss Helicopters for Heroes, the event, because I had to work and I was not able to donate my weekend like I normally do. Normally I have a full calendar, and blocking off that weekend is not a big deal. And we ended up getting a corporate gig, and then another charity that reached out to me to help out. And I had to do what I had to do. So I still wanted to make sure that I was going to make it to Helicopters for Heroes for something.
Yeah.
So I showed up. And by the way, it kind of worked out because Helicopters for Heroes is in Ennis, Texas, which is south of Dallas. My corporate gig was in Dallas. So Thursday, I got there, met all the people that were coming in early, woke and helped set up, Jim Solamente, and then Friday I woke up and helped set up and get Helicopters for Heroes set up, and also it was a different Helicopters for Heroes because of COVID, because of all the things that were going on.
Yeah, everything
was going to be on the ranch. Everything was going to be smaller.
Have we talked about Helicopters for Heroes? I feel like for people who are joining in.
I talk about it all the time. And anybody that jumps in on this episode and goes, what are they talking about? Well, that means you have to go back and watch all the other episodes, because this is a soap opera. Okay?
The previous 28 to be exact, right?
Yeah, I feel like...
Is this episode 28?
Like, what is it on This Is Us previously on Captain Evil and Steve Trevino, the podcast, right? So anyway, I by the way, the corporate gig I did on Friday was for this guy named Hassel.
I was gonna say it wasn't corporate; it was a private birthday party.
It was a birthday party, but it was. I mean, it's still they're hiring me specifically. Right. It's not like
to be their personal court jester.
I'm basically their personal, but a lot of times that's what happens. Like when I do these corporate gigs,
right?
I am literally the court jester. They don't want to talk to me. They have
Don't make eye contact. Don't eat our food. Come in and juggle.
Yep, it's a very fancy schmancy event usually, and I perform, and then they're like, okay, be gone. Thank you, entertainment. We love you, Steve, but don't fraternize with us. Is that a word?
Babe, I'm impressed. I think you might have even used that word correctly.
I have a good vocabulary.
Used it correctly.
Thank you very
Good
much.
job.
But this one was different. I mean, I got there and they were Pakistani and business. He was a businessman, and they were our age. And Reem is her name. She was immediately greeted us. Was so hospitable. And I felt completely out of
You were caught off guard?
I'm always underdressed, obviously, because I'm me.
Yeah.
But they were it was a black tie, white black tie.
Oh, nice. You didn't realize it was going to be so fancy.
It was like tuxedo, you know what I mean?
Were they upset that you were dressed like a schmuck?
No, but that's what I mean. They were so sweet and they were so kind, and they offered us drinks and food, and it just turned out to be a fantastic event. And usually... And some of these corporate events, they go, Steve, the person who has hired you would like you to sit at his table and eat dinner.
The official party planner?
Yes, they would like you to sit at his table and enjoy dinner. He would like to break bread with you, right? And then I have to sit there like a dick and kind of pretend I give a shit, right? But this one was nice because all the couples were our age, and I had a really great time talking to everybody and getting to know everybody, and it turned out to be a great event. But after, I
should have gone with you. It would have been an excuse to
you
buy a
loved
fancy
it.
dress.
But that's kind of where I'm getting, is the fact that you couldn't go, and the reason that you couldn't go, and not that we're the kind of people that we have a baby, we can't do anything. No, we have a colicky baby.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's really turned into. We were traveling with Garrett when he was 3 weeks old.
Right.
And so we want to be able to do those things with Delilah, but it's literally weighing out, trying to set this poor baby up for success versus trying to do the things that we want to do. And then is it worth it if it's literally going to be a screaming nightmare?
And then Friday you were like, I am not going to talk to you today.
Oh, yeah. I said, if I don't answer my phone, do not give me hell.
I cannot talk to you.
I can't mentally handle you today.
And then the few moments that I did get to talk to you were, I could tell, it was pure chaos.
Yeah.
I mean, pure chaos.
Well, I was heartbroken because we had switched back to the fancy formula, and Thursday went great. And so I was hopeful, okay, we've turned a corner. And then Friday, just all the wheels fell off the wagon, and it was just me. And Garrett usually handles her crying really fairly well. It doesn't faze him. It doesn't bother him. But Friday, he was like, I hate the passy job, because I'm just trying to do school pickup pick him up and down. And he has to stick the pacifier back in her mouth because she's screaming.
So then you're having a hell of a day on Friday.
Yeah.
I have to drive from Dallas because I have to be in Corpus Christi because it's Hobbs Hot Rod Run, poker run. So everybody meets and drives to different locations in their vehicles.
Cool cars.
Yeah. And when I get asked to do a job, I like to participate. I like to be a big part of the event. I like to.
It was a charity for Driscoll
Children's Hospital. So I leave Dallas at 10 o'clock at night. I get here at 3 a.m. I was going to say,
I happen to be awake because that's the time
Delilah's
she wakes up to eat.
Delilah's losing it. So I get very little sleep because I have to then wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning to make it to Corpus Christi on time to join them at 10:30 a.m.
Yeah.
So then I do. Oh, by the way, what an amazing event. I mean, we ended up raising $100,000 for Driscoll's Children's Hospital.
It's a pretty great children's hospital too.
It's an amazing children's hospital. And what I thought was really great is that, these are car guys, right? These are car guys with lots of money. So they are very inappropriate.
What does being a car guy with lots of money have to do with inappropriate?
It's like motorcycle guys, car guys, they drop the F-bomb a lot, right?
Okay.
They're really good guys, but they're rough around the edges, like me, right?
Okay.
So
I was like, I feel like you're just making excuses for why you're inappropriate.
no, but it was great because, dude, they have like the Driscoll Children's Hospital like staff at a table,
Yes.
and then all these car guys, and then the guys that are running the car event are on stage dropping F-bombs, and I'm like, oh, perfect.
Oh, no way.
Perfect. The guys doing the event are like, yes, I get to be me. I don't have to clean it up. I don't have to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just turned out to be an amazing event. And then I get this tap on the shoulder, and they're like, excuse me, Steve, Suzette Quintanilla, Selena's sister, would like to meet you. She's here.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I would like to meet her.
Right.
And it was, I gotta say, it was a really kind of a freaky moment for me.
Why?
Her face is exactly like Selena's.
Really?
And her voice was exactly like Selena's. And she enunciated and spoke and laughed like Selena. So like I'm talking to her, and I just feel like this person has been in my life, my whole life.
Well, and like
right?
now we've seen
And
reincarnations
movies
of her.
and TV shows, and this reincarnation of who she is,
Right.
And
or a character, not a reincarnation.
a character of her, and she was just so kind and so sweet to me, and she was like, hey, I didn't know you were from here, and blah blah blah. We talked about your uncle.
Oh yeah.
Right? And she was like, oh my God, I remember opening for them, and them having the motorcycle. He'd ride the Harley on stage.
So for people who don't know, my uncle was or is, but he's passed on, Ricky Smith, and he's sort of credited as bringing the electric guitar to Tejano music.
Well, taking traditional ranchera Mexican music,
right,
and modernizing it with electric instruments.
Right, but they dressed like bikers. It was totally 80s.
Trying to make it hip and cool, right? And a new generation. And I showed her the picture of you and Selena.
You did not.
And she was like, oh my God. She's like, I don't think I've seen that picture. It's amazing. And then you and your brother with her. And so it was just, it was really cool to meet her. But now I'm exhausted. I'm tired because, and that's another thing. It's being aware of your situation at home, right? Vance,
what do you mean?
Well, I'm going to explain. Vance Dawson was there. Nina was there. We love them, right? They're sitting with mom. Little Vance Jr.'s there. It's a good time, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, have a drink, hang out, and normally I would go, yeah, like, of course I'll hang out. Of course I'll have drinks. This is home, right?
Yeah.
But knowing that you were struggling at home, it's like, hey, guy, don't be that guy. You know what I mean? Like, don't have your wife at home dealing
and
with
go to a casino
and party, right? I needed to go home, so I drove home that night, and I got home at 3 a.m.
No, like
2?
midnight.
No,
midnight, 1 o'clock.
It wasn't midnight.
It's like 1 o'clock.
It's like
midnight.
2. It was 1 o'clock. Okay, it was midnight. If Renae says it's,
we'll meet in the middle.
so now I'm exhausted. Renae is exhausted from a colicky baby, and then Sunday night. Oh, your parents are here.
My parents are here. Yeah.
Daddy Raymond's here, and Mama Mia's here. Which, by the way, I said hi to your mom. We high-fived. She was super sweet. I gave her a hug, and I didn't spend much time with her. But me and your dad had to haul ass to the Home Depot.
Yes.
To get new.
What is this?
Shower heads. I had to replace. We had a leak in the shower, so I had to get the new. Right.
And we have 2. One on each wall.
And of course, your dad takes over the job, right? He's Mr. Right. And while I'm talking to him, I go,
well, that's why you asked to do it, because you knew he was here. So you.
Well, I knew he would help me. I don't know anything about plumbing. I knew he would help me figure it out, because that's what I do. I just figure shit out, right? But I go, yeah, Raymond, I think I'm going to put new floors here in the house. No, you're not. No, you're not. That's a bad idea. And I was like, it's my house. He goes, no, it's Renee's house. I'm talking to Renae. I'm going to tell her it's a bad idea. And I'm like, wow, guy. Okay. Well, I guess you're talking to Renae. So anyway, I get home. I get what I need to get done because we had that leak, and by the way, the water, we're not on New Braunfels water. We're on this like
We don't have city utilities.
we're on
We have
like
a private
mafia.
private water company.
We're in the mafia water company where they do whatever they want,
For sure.
and the bills here are ridiculous.
I think the only saving grace is that we knew we were gone for 3 weeks, so we can call their bluff if things get bad.
They make up prices like it's insane. So I had to fix the water leak, and then everything's good, not great. Your parents leave.
Yeah.
And then that night, 3 a.m, it's colic time.
Well, no, I mean, now we're at this thing where I'm like just putting the pacifier in her mouth. So I'm not sleeping at night.
But she's losing it. Like she is losing, her head is about to explode.
Was that 3 o'clock or 7 a.m.? I don't remember.
It was like 3 a.m, and Renae was like, she's like, what? You want to help? And I go, oh, okay, I'll help. And then she was like, forget it. I'll just do it. Are you even awake? And I'm like, yes, the baby. I heard you snoring. Right?
No, because you're like in the morning when I'm like dead tired, you're like, I didn't sleep at all last night. And I'm like, really? Because I listened to you snore.
But sometimes
I hear you snoring.
Sometimes, but I was up. So then we wake up early in the morning. Betty gets here.
Behind the scenes, Betty.
And yesterday was one of the hardest days for us. And the big question is, okay, well, how are you guys coping with it?
Right.
And by the way, there's people listening going, how bad can it be? And then there's people that have been through a colicky baby.
Right.
That are like, oh no.
It's not just the baby.
You don't understand.
It's not just the baby, it's the family dynamic and also like family dynamic with Garrett and then with you and I as well, and the energy suck. Like it's so many things besides just a screaming, crying baby.
Well, no, because I am at a point in my life for a long time now where I don't watch TV, right? I'm working on the house. I'm trying to improve our life. I try to be the best father that I can be to Garrett, to be completely attentive with him, to be present with him.
Right.
We have a routine where we play baseball almost every day, and then he has his little ninja class, and we have our thing, and that has started to slip. It started to slip because I'm tired, because I'm grumpy, you're mad, you're grumpy. You want to spend time with your son because
I want to spend time with him, and I feel like I'm not getting like quality, enjoyable time with him. I mean, even last night I tried to do bedtime with him and Delilah together, and it went
working.
to pot because she started screaming and crying, and he was getting annoyed. So I just had to tap out.
But I think that our willingness to try, our willingness to be better people. I mean, yesterday I was on the brink of nervous breakdown, tears. Mm-hmm. You definitely cried yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think that our willingness to, number one, knowing that it's temporary and having the patience.
Right.
And then number two, me and you, well, one, we had an argument.
Sure.
A real argument.
But
right?
Yes, a real one. But now looking back, it was like a healthy, we both got to get out our frustrations and say what we wanted and needed to say.
Right. But then after that, there was us having a real conversation. Right. And at the end of the night yesterday, we both sat down at the table and said, look, let's come up with a plan.
How are we going to be teammates about this instead of...
How are we going to be teammates?
I need this,
Right. How are we going to help each other? What are the circumstances? What are we going to do? And us coming to an understanding that, number one, it's hopefully temporary. And
hopefully 4 months and not 8, like some people have said.
Oh my God, dude. Some people are like, oh yeah, it took 8 months. Yes. And I'm like...
I've heard from a couple of 8-month people.
I don't know how you do that. Like, and us going, okay, let's do this. Right. Yeah. And then last night you were like, look, I'm going to go to bed super early because I have to rest.
Yeah.
You go upstairs to the guest room and you get a real night's sleep.
Yeah.
Right. And that way we can get back on track on helping each other. But it's finding, a plan. However, and I know a lot of dads travel for a living.
Yeah.
I have a very unique situation because not only do I travel for a living, I'm up when I'm traveling for a living late night.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like, hey man, I drove to Dallas. I had to stop here at 3:00. I got 0 sleep Friday. I got 0 sleep Saturday. And then Sunday I get here. I have a screaming baby. I get 0 sleep on Sunday. And then now it's like I got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But if I do a night for you, I still have to drive to Florida Thursday morning.
Yeah.
To do a gig.
Did we just burp in sync? Did we just conceal burps in sync right
That's
there?
why we're besties. That's why we're besties. But I think the talk yesterday helped us, right? And I think that
I think more than anything, a good night's sleep helped you.
Well, and you know me, I don't need that much sleep.
You don't need that much sleep.
But when I have 0, it's impossible.
But you usually in life are a very positive person.
Well,
And
yes.
so when you're not, I can't handle the negativity of what's happening with the baby, and then your negativity as like piled on is then it feels like it's piled on.
Well, and to be completely honest on this podcast, I lost Eric Meyer, comedian. There's been a lot of death around me.
I was gonna say this is comedian friend number what? 7? Is that 7?
I've probably lost 7 or 8 friends.
Since
close
COVID?
to me, people close to me to suicide or drug addiction, alcoholism. But I put drug addiction and alcoholism in the same category as suicide. To me, it's just a slower way of doing it without pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
Friends from high school. I've literally lost 9 people in the past
since the shutdown.
Since
that original shutdown.
And then my friend Ram's mom just passed away. There's been a lot of death around me, and I know a lot of people, and I have been close to a lot of people in my life because of who I am, right? And I feel very deeply, and I really care for people, and I try. I really try. And Eric hurt me a lot. And by the way, one of the funniest dudes you'll ever see. You got to see him in Vegas. He opened for me in Vegas, and he's just one of the funniest humans on earth, and not on earth anymore. But you got to look him up, Eric Meyer. And you probably don't know this. Early on in my career, he was having issues with addiction, and his dad would always go on the road with him. So I ended up doing a gig in Orlando, and his dad's there, and it was so great to see Eric Meyer back. And his dad was like, I'm on the road with him so that I can keep him clean, right? And I told his dad, I said, look, man, and you could tell his dad was just like the sweetest man in the world, And I said, listen, man, I go, I've got 6 weeks on the road coming up. I go, why don't you have Eric with me? And I make you a promise. I will keep him clean. I will keep him sober. And for 6 weeks, I had Eric Meyer with me, making sure that he stayed clean, making sure that he was in his hotel room asleep at night, making sure that he wasn't out partying, So, I made a promise to his dad that, hey, I will help, and I will be a part of the solution as opposed to a part of the problem, And then I find out that Eric lost his life, and that his dad had just passed away from cancer last month. So I feel like I have been through so much from, it's been tough for me.
Yeah.
From being unemployed to my career coming to what I thought was a screeching halt, to a tough pregnancy, to now a tough 3 months as her as a baby. And it had cottoned up to me. And I had to, and you were right. You were like, and you're the one that always saves me. Because yesterday you go, I don't know what's going on with you, but this isn't you. This is not you.
Yeah.
Go get some rest, and please come back tomorrow as you, as somebody positive, as somebody strong, as somebody who doesn't take no for an answer. And I thank you for that. And are you crying?
I am because I think that it's a couple of things. It's one that you do understand the psychology of things so much. And so I think you deal with everything privately in your head instead of talking about it. You know, you talk about how being a comedian, you are part psychologist, and you in particular are. But I think that is an abnormal amount of death in your life. And I think even you talking about it right now in this moment is helpful for you, because I'm not saying you need a therapist to go.
No, I probably do.
Because you need a therapist. You're working through it in your head, but there's something different about actually saying it out loud and talking about it with someone. And it wouldn't really matter who that therapist is, but the actual you talking about it out loud, I think, is so helpful. And then there's this element of, you talk about your big feelings and your big emotions, and you are a person with big feelings and big emotions. And I also think that's, a lot of comics, right? Is that comics have these high highs, but what comes with those high highs too is these low lows, because you guys feel everything so deeply.
Well, yes. And I've also tried to use those, find what those high highs are for me, right? And the high highs for me are helping others. Being able to make a Veterans Day at my show when I give them a koozie, or I mentioned that they're veterans, or, we wrote a check, and I say we. Now you have to remember that this is the 10th year for these guys. This Hobbs and John Frost and all these guys that have been doing this. They've been doing it.
For Driscoll.
Yeah, for Driscoll. And I got to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And I always, me, I always go, hey, I'm going to add value. I'm going to show up, and because I'm there, I'm going to help raise that much more money.
Kill the auction.
Yeah. So, those guys, with my help, they were able to write a $100,000 check to Driscoll Children's Hospital. And it was like, that's the kind of stuff for me that makes me feel like, what I'm doing on stage and what I do for myself, that I'm able to turn around and give back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it has been hard for us to want so desperately to love this little girl, which we do, in a different way, right? We are loving her right now with heart, right? With patience, with trying to find a solution to help her.
Yeah.
But we want to love her in a way that's just cuddly and laughing. I mean, we rarely see her laugh because she's in so much pain.
No, I was going to say, I hate to say that we rarely see her laugh. I feel like in the moments that she feels well, you can tell this little baby. Garrett was such a serious baby. And with Delilah, you can tell she has this little personality, and she does have a sense of humor, because when you smile and laugh at her, she smiles and laughs back at you.
Well, and I wanted to talk about that too, because, we knew leaving for Florida with her that she was it
was going to be a challenge.
It was going to be a challenge, but we accepted that challenge, and we said, look, we are not going to hide. We're not going to stay
We didn't want her to be this COVID baby that never leaves the house, because we were getting there.
Well, and we also want her to get on board with our lifestyle and who the Treviños are, and we want to make sure
Join the traveling circus, baby.
That we get to continue to be, our traveling circus together. So we took that challenge on. We didn't go. Sometimes I think parents are lazy, and they go, well, forget it. We can't. And
I was gonna say, but
we can't. We just can't. And
but I don't know. I don't think it's just lazy. It's like my eye twitches because I'm tired. I also think it's like you want to set your baby up for success too, and so establishing nap times and a schedule and routine all has validity to it.
Yes, but I remember, early on having Garrett in a store, and Garrett goes, "I want that." And he must have been 2.5, 3. And I said, no. I said, that's it. And then I picked him up because he kept trying to grab it. Mm-hmm. And I said, no, right? And then a mom right behind me goes, oh, you got more patience than me. My baby's in the car. My husband and the baby don't even go in the store.
Oh no, before you get to the checkout aisle, the kid checks out.
But I'm like, that's lazy. How about spend the time to teach your kid the lessons?
Easy said when it's your first child and you don't have a colicky screaming baby.
But again, no, it is. But we're taking on the challenge. We're still saying, hey, we will go to Florida. We will figure it out together as a family so that we could have we could have those lessons.
Yeah.
And the experience of her getting on a plane and doing the whole thing. So then, it was nice after all we've been through, and I'm not. Please believe me, there's probably somebody listening going, "I've been through more."
Oh, for sure. For sure.
But we walk into. We're trying to get patio furniture for the patio outside, and we. Renae always says Lowe's has nicer stuff. So this morning, I'm like, hey, look at Danny's like, you are correct. You are correct.
Thank you.
Okay, Josh
the
single guy, and then the married guy over there is like, yes, Lowe's does, and Josh is like, yeah, and Josh is
I
like,
like that. It's like Target versus Walmart.
Josh is like, don't you just call your landlord to fix this shit? Like, what are you talking about? So we walk into Lowe's, and Dad, you're gonna enjoy this. We walk into Lowe's, and Renae she goes, oh, those are the ones we like. I'm like, bitch, we? What is this we shit? You're basically telling me.
It's so good. I posted the video on my Instagram. You got the case of the giggles.
Oh my God. Well,
case of the giggles.
Because I'm literally we're writing the new special that we're going to film.
And I just provided you with new material.
Well, no, because I'm looking for more I Speak Wife scenarios. And I'm racking my brain constantly trying to write I Speak Wife stuff. And then we walk in like, oh, those are the ones we like. And I'm like, this motherfucker. Like, did you just tell me what we like? I think you just told me that I like these. So therefore,
well, this morning you told me that you know me better than I know me. So that's kind of the same thing.
I do. Dude, I have to hand her stuff and go, right now, put this in your wallet. Mm-hmm. Because I know you will leave it there and then lose it, right? I know that about you. When we renewed AAA, I got the new card and I said, throw your old card away and put the new card in there, right? What happened? You lost your ID. Then you went through a whole day to renew your ID. Literally, she's had a new ID for how long?
A week.
Maybe. Where is your new ID?
I'm pretty sure it's a Target because they asked to see it when I returned something. I'm pretty sure
she lost her ID again because I know that about her. So I go, here, staple this to your ass. There's plenty of room.
No, it's
so you don't lose it.
There's plenty of room.
So I do know you better than you. And you know me better than you know me. That I know me.
You know me better than you know me.
Yes. Like I assure you that Josh knows Danny better than Danny knows Danny. And I know Danny knows Josh better than Josh knows Danny. Let me tell you why. Because Kenny Rogers said something one time that was so smart.
What did Kenny Rogers say?
And I don't know where he got it. But he said in an interview, we are all three people.
Oh, yes. I know what you're going to say. Okay.
We are all three people.
Yeah.
We are the person we personally think we are. Mm-hmm. We are the person that everybody else thinks we are.
Yes.
And we are truly who we are. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was a really smart thing to say. And I believe that. I believe that we are all those things. Don't you think?
A combination of three for sure. Mm-hmm. There's your story. There's your version. There's my version. And then there's the truth. It's
so
like
then,
the same
dude.
Thing.
Yes. So then we're at the auction and Hobbs and John Frost and those guys, they bought 3 different hats. A Chevy hat, a Ford hat, and a Dodge hat. Right? So then they're like, okay, Steve's going to wear one of these hats. We know he's a Chevy guy, which, by the way, I'm giving him all hell, right? And you know I do the Super Duty joke, right? I'm giving him all hell. And then the Ford guy's like, $1,000. He wears that hat right now. And I'm like, oh, my God, dude. Right? So I put the hat on, and I'm like, come on, Chevy, where you at, right? And then somebody's like, $1,100. $1,100. He wears the Chevy hat. And I'm like, thank God, right? And then the Ford guy's like, nah. Oh, then the Dodge guy's like, $1,200, Dodge. And I'm like, well, I'd rather wear a Dodge than this piece of shit Ford. So then the Dodge goes on, and then the Ford guys again were like, no. $1,400. He wears the Ford. And I'm like, oh my God. So I put the Ford out. And then my boys at Aztec Chevrolet.
Oh, they were there.
They were there.
Oh.
Dude, Trevino gets up and he's like, He's like, $1,500. He wears the Chevy hat. So Boom. And I was like, please, nobody else. Please don't. So I'm like, going once, going twice. Sold. Aztec Chevrolet. I will be wearing the Chevrolet hat. So that's why I wanted to come back to those guys.
Yeah.
Because, and so then I went up.
Awesome.
I went up to Jerry and I said, hey, listen, man. I said, you don't have to front the whole $1,500. I said, me and my wife will donate half. Mm-hmm. And he was like, no, you're our guy. We know that you love Chevy and you take care of us. We got it. So Aztec Chevrolet, not only did they buy a table, they also spent $1,500 to give to Driscoll Children's Hospital. So I could wear a hat for a few minutes. And then we're wrapping it all up. And Miss Dora's in the front row with Vance Dawson and Nina, and she's, doing her whole thing. And then all of a sudden somebody comes on stage and they're like, guess what? Miss Dora needs to wear a Ford hat. And I go, oh, Mama don't wear no Ford hat, right? And they go, yeah, somebody donated $1,000 to Driscoll Children's Hospital if Miss Dora wears a Ford hat, right? So Mom put on the Ford hat. You should have seen her. I'm trying to leave, and she's taking pictures with people, and she's walking around, Miss Dora. And she's got her Ford hat on. Oh, they donated. They donated, mijo. They donated $1,000. So I need to walk around so they can see that I'm wearing the hat. Right?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it was awesome. But it was a bittersweet weekend, knowing that you were here having such a hard time. And I really tried to hustle to, again, Friday. I could have partied Friday. They wanted to party.
Yeah.
It was a good party.
I would have loved to have been at those events with you.
But I came home. I came home to you because I know it's been tough. And this morning has been a good day so far.
I told behind the scenes Betty, I said, do you think Delilah's having a good day because her parents are in a better mood today?
I think that absolutely has
something. I think she's a very intuitive child.
But it has, anybody, right?
Yeah.
Any situation you're in, that's one of the reasons that I love working with Rick is because Rick's always positive and Rick's always a yes and. And I hope that Rick likes working with us because we're a yes and people,
Yeah.
And Josh and Danny come in here and they don't feel the, oh crap, right? There's a lot of tension in here. They feel the energy. And I think that that babies definitely feel the energy. So going back to Josh and Danny, I'm very excited they're here because we have put together this beautiful studio with Rick's help. And it was funny because, and I'm going to use Danny, for example, and because I grew up with these guys. I mean, Madrina Angie grew up right down the road from their grandpa. So when I was at Madrina's house, these guys were at Tio Ricardo's house, and we'd all meet in the street, which was Isla Street, right? And it's funny that they named their brewery Isla Street Brewery because there's something about that street that it's just that street. You know what I mean? And there's just something about it. And Danny would come up to me and he would say, "Hey, Steve, man, I'm like." I want to brew beer, man. And I'd be like, oh, okay, well, cool, man. Like, I wasn't negative about it. I was happy for him. And then he, years ago, he'd bring a bottle to a party, and he'd go, hey, this is the beer that I made. I remember at Jeremy's wedding, Josh goes, hey, man, Danny made us a beer. Let's all go up and have a drink. And I remember going, oh shit, this is real.
It's a real beer.
This isn't like bathtub. I've had bathtub beer, from other guys that say that, and by the way, I've had friends that are like, I'm going to open a brewery. That's what I'm going to do. And it never happens, right?
Yeah.
But Danny would come around, he'd come to the shows and he would say, man, I'm really doing it, man. I want you to come see what I'm doing, And for me, I'm all about helping anybody, especially people that help themselves, right? And I would look at Danny and I'm like, well, there's really not much I can do for you right now. Right? I mean, I'm not going to be an investor. I don't know what it is. Right? So then he calls me up and he goes, hey man, I got this workspace that I'm working at, doing my beer thing, you know? So we go out and Danny and I have lunch and there was a feeling of like, oh no, he's like, this is what he's going to do.
Yeah.
And then Josh is the, a very creative type, very outgoing type. And he's like, oh yeah, me and Josh, and Josh is the run your mouth guy. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. And,
the hype man.
The hype man. Yeah, he's the hype man.
And, see, you should be on my team. I'm nice.
But again, we go to lunch, Danny and I, and we went to Ruth Chris and sat down and ate. And I just encouraged. I said, hey man, keep plugging away, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they have this little brewery in San Antonio that they built, and with the infusion of their grandpa, my uncle, they used my Tio Ricardo as part of the brand, and they started doing these really cool kind of infusion things. And I'm like, oh, I'm watching. I see what you're doing. Yeah. Right? This is great, man. Then they make this beer that over COVID goes viral. Rojo, right? This can I use the name? Yeah. This big red. 10 times. Yeah. Yeah. But this big red inspired beer, and all of a sudden there's a line. And by the way, the family would support. Cousin Carlos, their dad, would be out there making barbecue, and on Facebook I would see all the cousins like, hey, we're at Isla Street having a beer on a Sunday or a Saturday. And you'd see like this energy there. And I'm like, oh shit, like this is, and unfortunately for me, they're only open on the weekends. I would run into Carlos, and Carlos would be like, hey man, you got to go visit the guys. I'm like, I'd fucking love to. It'd be great. I work on the weekends. I can't, Yeah. So then recently, because of the Big Red Beer and because of the really cool things that they're doing, which are very Tex-Mex inspired, they've been getting a lot of buzz. As a matter of fact, they're in USA Today top 10 small breweries.
So cool.
And then I thought, well, man, okay, now we have something, right? You have this beer that's really good. I'm not a beer drinker, but I taste it. It's really good.
Yeah.
I go, and you guys have a great story. We should do a podcast because we have this studio.
Yeah.
And I think that it's very interesting, and I think that people that like beer want to hear your story, but at the same time, you guys have a really good story as brothers that had a dream, wanted to accomplish that dream, and have accomplished that dream, and are growing.
Right.
So I just think that it's a really cool podcast. So today they came to watch us do our thing, and then hopefully, we'll do one with them and see how it comes out. And you know me, I don't make any promises. I'm like, look, if you guys suck, it ain't happening. But we want to see, what it is. And what even makes it more special to me is I was very close with their grandfather. Mm-hmm. When I worked in Corpus and I was just very close with him, and he's hilarious. He's such a funny man, and he reminds me a lot of me.
A jolly man.
Yeah, but he was also very straightforward and very blunt.
Yeah.
He would say things that I'm like, oh shit, did you just say that about your grandkids? Like, god dang, dude,
Yeah.
But he was honest. And I think I'm like that. So Madrina Angie had gotten in the hospital.
Oh, I was hoping you would tell this story.
Yeah. And me, Renae, and Mama Mia, Renae's mom, went to go visit Madrina, right? So we're all in there talking to her, and of course, thank God she was doing well, right? She's in her bed talking to us, and Tio Ricardo, your grandpa, shows up, and he comes waddling in, looking like an Ewok, right? Beard. He's got this, he used to have this beard, this big old white beard, and
all white.
Yeah, all white. And he comes in, and at the hospital there are those hand sanitizers before you walk into
the foam ones with the little sticks sticking out.
So Mary and Tio Ricardo they both went for the foam together, and of course, Tio Ricardo, being the guy that he is, he's like, no, you first, right?
Right.
Well, his face is head high.
Eye level
to the foam. Mary hits it, and it shoots him in the face.
He's wearing his glasses.
And instead of like wiping it off, he walks in the room with this straight face, and everybody starts laughing, and he goes, man, I feel dirty. I feel like a porn star. And dude, we all freaking lost it.
No, but he literally looked like he had just walked through a car wash. Like, it's just all over his
I mean, if you want to see it as a car wash, if you want to say car wash, we'll take car wash. But anybody with a But so I think it's exciting. That's why the guys are here. And if you're looking for a really cool brewery and you're in South Texas, East Les Street. However, they do deliver and they have a lot of really cool stuff. However, from what I understand is
I was going to say the brewery is closed though, right? Because of COVID?
But they're doing delivery.
Yeah.
They're doing delivery and you know, they've had to close down, right? Because of COVID, but they are still delivering cases of beer outside of the brewery. So check them out. Anything else you want to talk about before we go? Rick?
No, we have to wrap this up because
That's what we're doing.
I have to refilm those auditions that you botched yesterday.
I did it with a good attitude.
No,
did it with a good attitude. Yes, I did.
He was so grumpy. Rick, I had some auditions I had to put on tape, and I was like, can you just help me with this? Because it was a better option to have behind the scenes Betty hold the baby and Steve film. He filmed the outtakes. He thought he was hitting record, but he was hitting stop. So it's literally, I have video of your pants, the countertop.
I got my son dressed, fed, lunched, off to school, took him to school. Then I got home and took care of AAA, took care of some business. Okay. Betty got here. Oh, and I also did all the laundry that did not get done while I was gone. Also did all the laundry. Mop the floors.
Quit taking credit for Betty's stuff.
No. I do all the laundry. She just folds it. See or no? I did.
Is this like the laundry joke? Because it's so much work to put it in the washer and move it to the dryer. No. Don't you tell a joke about this?
I'm just saying the things I did yesterday. Okay. And then I wiped down all the counters, cleaned the house, mopped. Now, is it the mop? Yes, it is the electric mop, but it's amazing. You still have to do it. I mopped. Betty folded the clothes, straightened up upstairs, got the house together.
How does any of this have to do with how you practice? You're wasting time. I got to film the auditions. Wrap it up, Steve.
Renae paid one bill, showered,
that is not true.
blowed out her hair, and then was like, Steve.
I have a lot of hair.
Film me.
Okay.
Film me. That was her whole day. Her whole day was paid one bill, showered, blew out her hair,
that is not
and then
true.
she's like, peasants, you take care of the child. You film me. And there I am, me and Betty are just like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
No, you are so full of it.
We're here to serve you, Captain Evil.
You are so full of it.
We're here to serve, madame.
You were so full of it. Anyway, do you think you can manage to hit record today? Can we make that happen?
No, I did hit record. It was just the opposite of filming.
You recorded your crotch. I can't send that.
I did that for you. And you're now going to get the part. You're going to get the part. Because they're going to feel sorry for you. They're going to be like, oh, poor girl. This is a Hobbit movie. Because, Josh is so tall. A whopping 5'6". Oh, talk about my junk.
Okay, it's gone to pot.
But we love you guys. Thank you for watching. Please share. Please tell everybody about it. This has been an episode of Steve Treviño
and Captain Evil, the podcast.